Welcome to Look Behind the Look, the new podcast that examines iconic looks in film, television, music, and fashion history. I'm your host, Tiffany Bartok. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to Look Behind the Look. I am Tiffany Bartok. How you doing on your awards watch out there, you guys? What have you seen? What have you loved? What have you been kind of confused by? Think there's too much hype about? Let me know, because as you know, I love talking about all of this stuff. I love getting in arguments too, so bring it on. Today, for those of you who have seen Nightmare Alley, which I absolutely recommend, it is a visual feast, just gorgeous. It's Guillermo del Toro's latest, and today we have a real treat for you. I am speaking with Cliona Furey, the film's hair designer, and Jo-Ann MacNeil, the makeup designer. They have indeed been shortlisted for the Oscar, and today you're going to find out a lot more about their process and hear some great stories from behind the scenes of Nightmare Alley. Jo-Ann and Cliona zoomed in from the Guillermo del Toro project that they're working on together now. And I love talking to them about their research process and what it's like to collaborate with del Toro. I know you're going to enjoy our conversation as well, so let's get to it.
What do I want?
To be found out, same as everybody else.
Are you in contact with the Beyond?
Well, we've had our share of snake charmers in the past. We deal with them.
You don't fool people, Stan. They fool themselves.
I've given you a fortune. It's time that you delivered.
When does it end? I want to know.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me to talk about Nightmare Alley today. Can you just do a quick introduction of yourselves for me?
Sure. I'm Jo-Ann. I'm the makeup designer, and of Nightmare Alley.
Great. And Cliona?
I'm Cliona. I'm the hair designer of Nightmare Alley.
Wonderful. And so I first wanted to find out the origin of you guys coming on to the project, and had you worked with Guillermo before? I know you're on a project with him right now. That's so exciting. And how did this project come to fruition?
I've worked with Guillermo for many years now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, I think, my 6th or 7th project with him. So it evolved that way. I was on his last project and was asked about this one. And this one was particularly exciting. But yeah.
Wonderful. And Jo-Ann?
Yeah, and for me, this was actually Nightmare Alley was my first film
okay.
I did with Guillermo, and I had a call from Miles Dale, the executive producer, asking me about my availability, and Cliona and I have worked together several times on other projects. So,
I saw that. Are you in the same area?
Yes.
Well, yes, I'm based out of the UK. I live in the UK, but I'm originally from Toronto. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what brought you to the UK?
Oh, it's a long story. Yeah, my son's a professional footballer, so yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's why we're
exciting.
Yeah,
that's really exciting. Oh,
yes.
Well, obviously your work is so esteemed that you can work anywhere and on amazing and exciting projects. So I'm glad you guys were together for this one. So do you have a shorthand when you work together, or what's that collaboration process like? Is it different when you worked before together than when you work with Guillermo specifically?
I think our processes are always the same. Cliona and I always collaborate constantly. Even when we're not together, we're always like via text, via email or FaceTime. We're always communicating about, the project and what we're going to do and the characters and, always. So,
right.
Yeah, for every one of them.
For this project in particular, what was your research like?
Do you want me to go first? Well, for me, I started researching because of the periods. I started researching the era, and what was happening in the world at the time, and how it affected, not only their choices of makeup, but what was available to them at the time. And the carnival was set in 1939, which was the end of the Great Depression. And the city was set in 1941 when Europe was on the brink of war, basically. So, but I did a lot of research with magazine articles online, old news articles, pulling from, again, old Hollywood classics. And I read the book, I watched the movie, the original movie, and, that helped me build like a really clear vision of, what we were going to be doing in this film. Yeah.
How about you, Cliona?
Very similar. I tend to look for video clips of actual things going on in the time. So jazz festivals, circuses. I'll look up little real minute clips and take screenshots from them, and books and things. But I tend to stay away from movie star looks because I just feel that that's someone's interpretation. So
right.
Try for real people, what was really going on, or any kind of. I'll look up events and things where I'll see people walking around, or carnivals or circuses. I did a lot of carnival research, circus research as well, because it's a similar kind of life. And then I'll take screenshots and literally paste pictures all over my trailer for inspiration.
Nice. Oh, that sounds like that sounds like a great place to work with all those images around you, but also would give you nightmares, because the thing is that's so fascinating about this movie is that it's gorgeous and beautiful. The work is extraordinary. As you know, I'm so blown away by the detail that you two executed, and the world was completely believable, yet it's disturbing but also so beautiful. I guess that's what his whole genre is, right? His whole thing is to make the disturbing beautiful. Even the Geek, I mean, it was horrifying. Can we talk about the Geek for a bit, and the creation of him? You had some way of making me horrified at first, right? And then I was very interested in going in and finding out more about this character, and that's real artistry to be able to make me not be so disgusted that I turn away, right? And how did you do this?
Well, for me, the Geek characters, because we had two of them, basically two, maybe three in the movie.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, so they were homeless. The story behind them is that they're homeless alcoholics, and in the worst shape of their lives, basically. And the carny bosses take advantage of their circumstances, and really, in truth, torture them into becoming a crazed character of the carnival that'll do anything for booze, basically. And so we needed to show real desperation and despair in the makeup. So Paul Anderson, who played our first Geek in the movie, we broke him down with like soot powders and grime sprays and dirt puffs, and we used Illustrator palettes and a few small prosthetic transfers and so forth, and kind of broke him down and molded him, and with lenses, and we had broken teeth, everything made for him. But our whole thing was we really wanted to create this horrific character that you also felt sympathy for in his makeup. So I'm glad
you're wondering,
it came across that way.
Certainly did. I mean, it was like, what caused those wounds? You sort of just start really exploring it. And I guess maybe because we spend so much time sort of, we can't turn away. And, the camera work is so empathetic somehow. So it's amazing. Cliona, do you have anything?
There's soft moments in there too, like where you see where Bradley's sharing the cigarette with him. And that's it. Like you see how vulnerable he is. And when he goes and he finds him in the fun house, and the Geek is saying, I'm not like this. I'm not like this, So, I mean, you're looking at this very horrific character in makeup and hair, but you're just feeling very sorry for him. So it was really understanding his backstory and, trying to create the hair and makeup too. So hopefully that you would, and I'm glad you said that you got that feeling that he was so disturbing to look at, but in the same sense, you felt sorry for him. And that's what we tried to create with the characters. So.
It really spoke to mental illness and
Yeah.
you know the plea to not be like, ugh, it makes me emotional to even talk about, but
Yeah,
like sort of, you
absolutely.
know, the
Mhm.
plea to not be, you're trapped by this, you know,
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It really
exactly.
came through. Beautiful.
Yeah. Great.
And then
Thank you.
Cliona, do you have anything to say about the Geeks?
I
Creation of that?
Well, with the geek, that was a wig, so I felt my part
Mhm.
of that was just Paul Anderson had very short hair, and
Mhm.
so I had a beautiful wig made for him, and Guillermo wanted his hair to be oily, and I knew with the way it was written that he would be flinging his head around, and I wanted the wig to move really well, so I feel that my part in that was really just to make it look like it was his own hair,
Right.
and make it filthy and grimy and oily. In terms of feeling sorry for him, I think that was in the script, and that was all Paul's part. It was all I did was rub dirt in his hair and put the wig on really well, and he did the rest.
Yeah, it was an amazing performance. Very underrated, because things like that, you know, they don't stay in your mind when you talk about the film, but there's such an important part. Which, can you talk a bit about the details? I really want to talk to you about the nooks and crannies of all of the background and the carnival, because it was such a believable world, and you're very much a part of that. And if anything was missing, I feel like the jig is up, the gig is up, the jig is up, whichever one. But you know, it's sort of you really, that detail really convinced me that I was in that circus. And can you talk a little bit about paying attention to those details?
Yeah, I
The
mean,
importance.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, sorry for us. I mean, well, for me, actually, like for our background, we had a lot of people, and we really did look at every single one of them, because, it's just like all the hard work that you put into your main cast can be undone by an incorrect background period performer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
we really made sure we saw every single person that came in. And our carnival people were all, we wanted the people to look very real, because they're, the thing about the back in 1939, this was a place of escapism for these people. So they were real people, and we wanted to make sure that we presented them that way. So it wasn't glamorous, it was a bit tattered, broken down, a time of the classes, and they were just real people, and we really wanted for that to come across that way for our carnival people.
It really did, because it didn't go too far, and it didn't look like what you were
Exactly.
saying before, the movie version of
Yes.
what these people would look like. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Can you
Mhm.
can you tell me a little bit about creating Toni Collette's character? Would that
Oh yeah.
she looked like I've
Mhm.
never seen her before.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I love Toni. We've worked together a couple of
Oh,
times,
okay.
and yeah, and it was fun creating her, because she was kind of a, in the movie, her backstory is that she was a performer and successful back in the 1920s, and we kind of catch up with her 15 years later in the carnival, where she's kind of this fading, she's a fading star now, but still kind of holding on to what she did back then. And so we played with that with her makeup. We kept a 20s vibe still with her, and not so polished, but still you could tell that this was carried into, we accentuated her eyebrows a little bit higher, just to give her a little more expressive looks when she was on stage. All little small details that we did with her. And then, outside of her performance look, we wanted them to still kind of blend in with what the carnival was at the time. So you saw them pulled back a little bit outside of their performance looks as well. So, but
And
yeah.
and her hair was what, finger waves? Yeah. I mean, are they
Yeah,
technically called finger waves? Yeah.
yeah, that's finger waved
Yeah.
hair. That was a wig too, and Guillermo wanted her to have a bleach blonde dye job. He said with roots.
Ah.
He said black roots, but we didn't do black roots. But so that directive came from him, and then I looked at what direction Louis Sakira, our costume designer, was going, and he was going bohemian, and as Joe said, more 20s. We backdated her a little bit, so and in meeting with Toni and talking with her, originally that hair was going to be a bob length. And
Okay, yeah, I wondered. I
we
wondered
decided
why you
to
chose
go
long.
longer. Yeah, we put it on, and it was because I was planning on cutting the wig on her,
Okay.
and I'd done and styled it, and she loved it so much, and we decided with the costume and the bohemianness of her character that maybe, you know, Zeena doesn't conform to the styles and have the same length as everyone else. And so with her, I let her be a little more frizzed than, say, Lilith.
Yep.
I wanted my carnival characters to be really organic and real, and a lot of them are in wigs. So of course I want that to look organic. I don't want you to know they're in wigs. And we were out in the elements as well, in the rain. And
I
there
was gonna ask about that. You guys
snow.
really got like you got
Yes.
the worst of it, right?
So I tried not to overdo it with the styling and let it be real, let it fuzz, and her character should look a little bit tired as well. So she's been doing this a long time, and as Joe said, she's a fading star. So it all worked out really well. And same with the background. We used a lot of wigs with the background and a lot of roller sets, a lot of finger waves, but not overdone, not over styled. I wanted the people to look real. And I had a huge hair team that I normally work with. And all those background, hundreds of them, are seen by, I have someone that's at the costume fittings, you know, meeting them, taking photos of their hair for me, telling them to grow their hair or cut it, or we might color their hair. And all those men are pre-cut by us. And we purposely pre-cut them not right before we film so they don't look freshly cut.
Sure.
All planned out. And
yes.
We catch them when they've gone and got a haircut on some other show and say, sorry, you can't be in this movie.
I know that feeling when you get caught. It's like,
yes.
Did you? Okay.
And I'm not mad about it. And people have to work and they're doing background performing on different films. It's a reality, but we have to have the right look. So I can't have someone in a buzz cuts, let's say, in a 1939 film. So, and I just have a ton of amazing hairdressers who all know how I like things, and we know Guillermo's aesthetic, and a lot of hard work and planning and prep was put into that. And I have a huge, incredible team that actually did all the work.
Now, I heard Guillermo talking about how circles was a theme for him, you know, with the art direction. He said everything tied back to the circle theme. Do you guys work with those themes as well? He was talking on a podcast about it. Everything was a circle, art direction wise. It made sure to incorporate this circular thing because, spoiler alert, I mean, the ending is all full circle, right? So, you know, do you apply any themes to your departments? You know, do you keep something in mind when you're working on the aesthetic that you're approaching? Like, is it different from the circus to the city? Do you have a different blanket theme that you tie everything back to?
Well, for me, it's when I read the script, when I go all through the whole script, like I do for each character, I do a separate character breakdown for every one of them that we're going to see in the movie. And I always, when I do it, I make my notes of everything, and then I'll see what my end result is. I almost work from back to front. So I want to know where they're going to go at the end, and then I can pull back to where they start. So I always kind of go back to front with my characters. I have to know where we're going to finish before I know where I'm going to start with
so
them.
How did you apply that to, let's say, Rooney, who is like, it's obviously different where she finishes?
Yeah. Well, for Rooney, it was like her transition was huge, because in the end, from the beginning, we always see her as youthful, innocent. She kind of goes along with things, but she's never doing anything deceptive wise and like deception. And in the end, you see her when they try to fool Ezra and with Stan. She has this whole conversation with him in the car about how she's tired of it and she doesn't want to do it and it's enough. I knew at the end there that it was basically that scene was the death of Molly's innocence, because she has now bought into Stan. She's doing what he's doing. She's not being truthful. Her innocence is gone. So I knew at the end
Did she do it for love? Why did she do that?
Yes, of course. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was finished. So I knew it was basically, I knew what Molly was going to be at the end, and that was the end of it. So I knew where I needed to start with her, because the end was, it was over. Like, it was the death of everything that you saw in the movie up to that point. She's now one of them.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
she's, she's lying, and she's doing something she would have never done. So, yeah. So I always want to know where it's going to end. I always see where they are at the end, and then I know how to start them at the beginning.
That's wonderful.
So that's my kind of method to the madness.
Makes a lot of sense. Cliona, do you have anything to add?
For me, you talked about the circular theme. I figure that's not my part to play. Okay. That's Guillermo's role, and he just has so many undertones in movies that I'm not even aware of some of them. He relies on me to do the hair and the wigs and put looks the way he wants, and I stick to that. But where I do have I have backstories that I create in my head, or I take from the script, and that will be on my mind when I'm making decisions. I'm guessing it must come through things like Guillermo gives the actors these biographies of their characters. I don't know if you know that, but he gives them all their astrological sign, where they grew up, what the mother's name was, what the dynamic was in the household, where they lived, where they moved, what the dad did for a living. So he gives those to all the actors. And so I was privy to those. And so I know his backstory of the actors, and it stays in my mind. So with Molly, for example, Rooney Mara, I guess because of that and the script and everything, what rubbed off on me was I saw her as this pure, innocent little ingenue that was vulnerable. So I tried to make her look like that at the carnival. I wanted her to look young and pure. And we were actually thinking of giving her bangs for the carnival. And I didn't want them. Something just told me that it would be better without, and do the center part soft. And Rooney had some ideas as well. And we came up with this innocent little bob, and we kept it very simple. And her day look was very, very simple and organic and not fancy, very little girlish. And then her performance look with her little, just one finger wave on either side, and her little headdress, but I gave her a wig for going into the 40s, and we lengthened her hair. And I wanted her to, I guess that's what was in my mind, is that she's trying to be more sophisticated now. She's in the city, Stanton. And that Lilith is always lingering around. So she's trying to look more sophisticated, was what was on my mind. But deep down, she's just a little kid. So when you see her in the dressing rooms eating chocolates, there's an eating there,
Yeah.
She's really, that's when she's herself. And so her hair she doesn't look like a little 40s film star in the dressing room. We would tie it back softly. So in fact, one of my favorite visuals from the movie photos is of Rooney and Molly and Stanton in the dressing room with the mirror behind her.
I love that.
So that's her long 40s wig, but it's kind of tied in a sash off to the side. And and Rooney had a big part in that too. She had her opinions about that, and she was totally right. So that was a nice, soft little moment of Molly really being who she was. But when she was on stage, she was trying to look more sophisticated. So I guess I was trying to show that. But in terms of Guillermo's themes, that's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah.
I stick to the hair.
I can imagine. I stick to the hair. Again, as you're talking, I just can't get out of my mind the thing that you kept saying about it always just looks like she did it, whether it's, it still looks like she was doing it. Nobody else was coming in and doing it and leaving. It all looks very realistic, and how you would do it. And that restraint, you must have had to have some restraint, because her face, oh my God, the cheekbone, you must just want to and the restraint is commendable, I must say, because it was very effective.
She's so beautiful. Oh yeah, she's so beautiful.
Rooney helped with that too, I've got to admit, because it's easy to take a face like that and just wanting the ego trip of a hairstyle. but we didn't. Rooney was really, she's smart and she's all
Mhm.
about, not about what she looks like. She's like, it was her that insisted, I want it simple for these scenes, that why should I
Mhm.
dress? So for me, she kept me on point with that. And she was totally right. But I did sneak in a couple of moments in the dressing room. I think when Stan comes in and she's looking at a book, I was like, I've got to get my classic 40s look in there on her because she's just so beautiful in it. So I did sneak in a couple of flashes or a couple of quick scenes with her hair down with the beautiful waves.
Yes, yes.
too.
You have to.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
but even when I had her performing at the Copa, I still pinned her size back in a little girl kind of way because she's opposite Lilith, and Lilith is the femme fatale. So I think that showed nicely. I think she looked like a more immature young woman trying to look sophisticated. So I was careful not to go, there's that restraint you mentioned. I would be silly to try and go gorgeous with like film star looking with Rooney's character for those scenes. It's Lilith that should look like that. So
because that her character would feel like, oh no, did I do too much? That you guys know her character so well. Yeah. She would never go that far.
Yeah. And we did that even when more of Lilith's influences kind of started to come in. We even started to pull her makeup back a little bit in the city. You didn't really see her with the lipstick on anymore. And we didn't. So there were all these little things we kind of pulled away as she evolved through the film,
I see.
So,
have you seen the film in black and white?
no,
I didn't either. It's at the Alamo over here, but I really want to get over and see it.
So do I.
Yeah. So now they say that that's how the synopsis in the Alamo catalog says that's how Guillermo intended it. Is that true?
Very possible.
Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, there was always a little whisper here and there that we would maybe see it in black and white, but it was never that, yes, we're going to do it in black and white. We knew we were going to film this in color.
Not to us anyway, and that might be we're on a basis. I don't know what he had planned with the cinematographer and producers.
Right. When you get the call to work with him, are you just so pumped because of the lighting? I mean, you just know, like, the lighting on your work when
You're
you get the
lucky to work with Dan
opportunity.
Lotion.
Oh, it's just in the art direction. I want everything in Lilith's office delivered to me right now. It was so incredible.
You know what it does? It keeps you on your toes because
I bet.
Everybody ups the ante for everyone else. Not that it's a competition, but when you walk on those sets and you see that lighting and those costumes, all I'm thinking is, are my work good enough? Is my work up to par here? Is it correct? Is it the best it could humanly be? That's what I think we all push each other with Guillermo being the big push, the big leader.
Yeah. I mean, I heard he's just incredible to work with, right? He's so caring and supportive. Now, this is funny. I heard yesterday on something that he learned makeup from Dick Smith. Is this true? What do you know about that? I was just like, what?
He started in makeup and prosthetics. Yeah. So I couldn't quote exactly who taught him, but that's what he said.
I can verify that it was Dick, that he just walked up to him and was like, can you teach me how to do that? So it's pretty amazing. Now, one thing I did want to talk about is that I know that the film production was interrupted. So how did that affect you guys?
Oh, the world pandemic thing?
Yeah. Continuity wise, I mean, like, it must have been horrible. What did you shot and what did you have to match to?
Well, I'll let Joe tell you that one because we were in the middle of a scene when we shut down.
Oh no!
Like 8 months later or whatever. And Rooney
but he saved you guys because he did it preemptively, right? He shut down. He was just like, no, that's enough. He didn't wait for the government to shut you down. Where were you shooting?
We were shooting in Toronto. We were on the stage. I even know the date. It was March 12th, and
that's Thursday.
We were in the half part of our day just before lunch. We broke for lunch. It was like midnight. We were called back into set after lunch to have an announcement, and that's where the announcement happened. But what we had done up to that point, like before lunch, is we shot the lie detector scene.
Okay.
And we shot the master. And that was what we were doing that morning, our first half of the day. And we didn't get into any coverage yet. It was all the masters of the scene. And then we got shut down. And it was not told if it was a week or 2 weeks or, nothing. None of us knew. We were just told, don't take anything, leave everything, grab your purses, your wallets, your bags, and leave.
Wow, that is dramatic.
Yeah, and we did, and none of us had a clue what was to happen. And then, fast forward 6 months later, it was September, I think almost to the day, September 12th, we came back and to that scene. And Guillermo did not want to reshoot the master. He wanted to move right into coverage. And none of us had seen our actors. We had no idea what happened in lockdown. We were going to go into like direct continuity, basically, and for something that we haven't spoken to, seen, nothing. Jeez. And so that was a big challenge for us. And, one of our actors came back 40 pounds lighter.
I was just going to say, I would have been like fat as hell at that point.
And,
so they lost weight. Oh yeah, my.
So Mike Hill, our prosthetics designer, had like 48 hours to do life cast and prosthetics pieces for the last 3 days of this actor's scenes. Yeah, and he just did an amazing job. And also, like Cliona said, in lockdown, Rooney Mara had a baby. And we had shot a scene in Buffalo just prior to the lockdown of her of Molly and Stan in the train station walking into a bathroom, and that was pre-pregnancy. Then we flash forward to Toronto 7 months later, post-baby, direct continuity,
right?
Walking in the bathroom, not pregnant, in the bathroom, post-baby.
Walks through the door having had a baby.
Yeah, having had a baby.
Oh my God, that is like the universe's biggest, like you're entering motherhood and now you're in it.
Yeah,
wow.
So it was challenging to make sure everything was extremely seamless, that nobody would notice a few things that happened.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, it was big.
I know what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you what you couldn't wait to get your hands on when you read the script. Like
Carnival,
what was like
Carnival and Wigs and helping create characters for the Carnival. And I knew in the script there was some peep show girls, and I started researching burlesque dancers of the time and things like that. And I got really into it, and my team and I did some wigs in the trailer because I started sidetracking and I had read about Faith Bacon, the original fan dancer.
Wow.
And she was called by many the most beautiful dancer in the world. And then she's the first one that made the fan dancing, the big ostrich fans, famous. And sadly, she ended up throwing herself out of a window and had a drinking problem. It's so sad. And then Sally Rand, another, she's the fan dancer who made that famous, but she actually apparently copied it from Faith Bacon. So I got really into that and started looking at their hair and the photos, research photos. So we did up some wigs and pieces, and we pay a little bit of homage to Faith Bacon and Sally Rand and with our peep show girls at the Carnival. So Guillermo loved it and was let me do it, and he was interested. And so things like that, I was dying to just get some shapes in there and some little characters of my own.
Yeah.
It was certainly the film to do it anyhow.
Yeah.
And I have to say the same for me. The Carnival was really what excited me when I read the script. I could just, visualize back then. Like we had our tattooed swordsman in the film, and that we had a big process with, and putting all of that together. And, it was just, I was so excited about the Carnival and couldn't wait to get in and create that world. Yeah.
And who did prosthetics on the film, if we just can shout them out?
Mike Hill was our prosthetics designer. Yeah, and he did an amazing, beautiful job in the film. So,
he created There's that Jojo Dog Boy character. I don't know if you saw the hairy faced man.
Yes, I did. I saw it on Jo-Ann's Instagram. Yeah.
And that is actually Mike Hill playing Jojo
Oh,
Dog Boy.
no way!
Yeah.
That's
and
a
then
fun fact.
He created all these really cool prosthetic freaks.
Yeah.
And you go on his Instagram and look at them because he doesn't even go with the same gender. He changes people's gender.
Yeah.
And he, unfortunately, some of it isn't in the movie. So, but it was all filmed and it was just incredible work. And
you do get a little peek of them in the second Carnival at the end. But yeah, amazing work.
That's why we have to have podcasts like this so we can know to like go and look at all those Instagrams and see all that. Because I Gen X here, I still put in the DVD and ask for extras. Please, like, don't take this away from me. I want a documentary of 45 minutes, a featurette of all of this stuff. I want it. Why don't they have that stuff anymore? It's like you have to search it out on the internet.
And Nightmare Alley would have been a really cool movie to be a fly on the wall because the carnival as well, because they built a real carnival. It was outside of the city, not far from where I live, because I don't live right in Toronto. And it was at a fairgrounds that they do have fairs there. And I used to show my horse there. I used to ride horse shows there, so I felt like I was at home. But yes, they built a huge working carnival. Everything was real. Everything was like, even the tents had little holes in them and the rain would come through and the winds. It was incredible, and everything was aged, and of course really got aged during the pandemic because it was all left out there in the elements.
Oh, no way. I didn't think about that. Absolutely. Yeah. Cool.
It just to stand on set and take it all in. I was constantly snapping photos going, like the set was just so beautiful, and the lighting and the atmosphere, everything, the costumes, all the colors, everything.
Yeah, it was just texture and layers of everything. It was stunning. It really was visually stunning.
For someone like me, that I'm a wig maker in background, and so is my team are all wig makers and theater people. So the 30s is my favorite period.
Sure.
And I, like you said, what could you not wait to get your hands on? I couldn't wait to do some wigs and get some shapes out in that crowd.
Yes.
I use a lot of wigs, not all, but in the background, I tend to use wigs to inject shapes in there that I like to get in there and then mix with the real hair. But to have that palette, to be able to put your work out on that set, on that screen, is what else could you ask for?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Thank you, Guillermo. Thank you.
Yes.
How did they do the electricity on Rooney? How did that work?
That was CGI, wasn't it?
Yeah,
was
I think
CGI.
it
Honestly,
was a visual effect. When we filmed it, it wasn't. We didn't have the lightning, so.
I literally was like, I thought I was going crazy. I did not think that was CGI, which is like, I was like, now I know he's a master director because I'm so convinced that I'm in this world that I'm actually watching a magic trick.
There really wasn't very much of it in the movie. Everything was basically everything was practical in the film. And so there was very little CGI effect in the film. So.
But the thing is, whatever was CGI, as you said, it's Dennis Berardi. Nobody knows. I couldn't even tell you what was and what wasn't. It's so good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, ladies, I am so grateful that you took the time to talk with me. I know you're in the middle of awards buzz, which is so exciting because it's very well deserved. But are you feeling like how do you grapple with that? Is it something that I don't want to hear it, or are you like bring it in? Yeah. How do you feel?
I'm just kind of going with the flow with it. And it's good that we're so busy on our show that we're currently on. It does kind of distract you from it, all that too. So, but yeah, I just trying to kind of go with it all. The best I can.
Keeping busy, and I to make the Oscars short, the Bake Off and the top 10 is a win for me. So I'm enjoying that, and really, to be put in the same group as those 9 other movies and those hair people and makeup people. And some of them are friends of mine that I really love.
It's such
I feel like I've already won. I've already made it or I've achieved something great. And it was a lovely public nod. And I'm loving that. And if that's what I get out of it, I'm happy because there's a lot of competition, a lot of really beautiful work out there.
I don't know what's going on this year.
They'll make a decision.
And the greatest thing is that they're all so different, you know. So I mean, it's fantastic. I'm so impressed, and I love your work, and I love your work in this movie specifically. And I'm really appreciative that you took the time to talk to me about it in detail. And I can't wait to see what's next for you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Bye, ladies.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and please let me know what you thought of Nightmare Alley. And please reach out if you saw it in black and white versus color. I'm interested to talk to people who saw both, and I want to hear the differences that you experienced. We have a bonus episode coming out tomorrow, 2/2/22. It's the same day that the show that we're talking about premieres, which is Pam and Tommy on Hulu. We have the hair, makeup, and prosthetic heads all talking about how they created these looks, and I cannot wait to share that one with you, so come back tomorrow. See you soon. Look Behind the Look is a Vinyl Foot production, written by me, your host, Tiffany Bartok, produced by Jace Bartok, edited by Nicole Tucker, with art design by Kelly Riley. If you're interested in learning more, find our video version on the YouTube channel Look Behind the Look podcast. There you can see rare photos and clips from our guests. And please follow us on Twitter at LookBehindPod and Instagram at Look Behind the Look. If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe. And tell your friends and spread the word. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or any podcatcher of your choice. Thanks for listening to Look Behind the Look.